Hi, I'm Colin and welcome to How to Paint Watercolours. So if you're ready, we'll get started and we'll paint this one. Well everybody, welcome back to Painting Watercolours, and I'm going to deal with greens today, I think. Greens and yellows, which will make this one quite bright. And it's a springtime one. I'll give you a run round of the colours. Transparent yellow, Indian yellow, Turner yellow green, or a May green if you have that. Indian red, burnt sienna and French ultramarine, and we may need a bit of burnt umber in it just in case, but that's for later on. And you know, you get such a bright day sometimes where all the greens are really very bright. So I'm going to bring in this transparent yellow in here, French ultramarine with some burnt sienna, sort of make a grey. Very pale. I'm going to water this down because I don't want too much of it and I don't want it very strong, and I might put a little bit in the water while I'm here. Add a little bit more of this yellow in. This is just basically going to be a backdrop, Indian yellow, like an orangey yellow this. Just scrubbing it in with a brush. I might even bring some down into this as well. Just a touch of this Turner green and yellow. I'm just going to change its colour, make it very yellow, like a very yellow green. And I'm just going to add this in. Now it's too wet to put any real background trees in, so I'm going to have to let this dry a moment or two. Burnt sienna with some of the yellow, transparent yellow, just making it a nice golden brown colour. And we will drop some trees in. I'm just going to check it for spread because this has to be reasonably thick and I don't want it to be too thin, otherwise it will spread everywhere. We'll drop some misty trees in. Just straightforward burnt sienna along the bottom here. Then I want to take some of the May green or Turner yellow green. I want to bring this in as well. And I'm just going to take the mop brush, break it open, and into this I can probably just drop in some bushes. Just adding background foliage to this. And then you're going to let that dry. Okay, that's reasonably dry. Paper's still a little damp. When I say dry, the paper is always damp. What I'm going to do is make this middle one, after thinking about it, the dead tree, so that the other two can frame it. So I'm going to re-wet the trunk of this tree. I want to make a green up, so I'm going to use some transparent yellow and French ultramarine, and I'm going to dull it with just a little bit of the Indian red. To make it a different colour than the background, and as we darken it, it should stand out. Just want to drop this in, just giving the tree a little rough edge. I think what we might do, we could do this one as well. They're both the same-ish. that looks like. Using this deeper colour, I'm just on this outside edge, the left hand side, and I'm just dropping it in, allow it to work its way over. Some yellow, I'll drop this on right down here. This is the transparent yellow, just a little bit. I've got to pull this in with a damp brush, same here, and we're just attaching it to the riverbank. Just take some French ultramarine and burnt sienna. And I'm just going to add a little dark to this tree. Once again, just soften this in. I think we can mix up a colour for the canopies. I'm taking some of the transparent yellow. And what I actually want to do is just turn it a little green. So I'm taking some of the turnip green and adding that to it. Mop brush, stiff coat head mop brush, and I'm just putting some water on the end. What I want to do is just touch this on so you get spots of water where you want your canopy to be. Got the yellow green, and on the top I'm going to drop this in. Then I'm just going to deepen it with some French ultramarine. I'm just placing it and allow it to sort of mingle. You have plenty of time to get this on. Then I want to take some burnt sienna, just to bring an earthy colour to it, a little bit more blue, just to give the underside of this canopy a little darker touch, just for some contrasting shadow. Then I'm going to take some of that colour and we want to just place it in a tree and then pull it down. Just wiggling the brush to give the branch some character. And I'm going to do exactly the same to that one. Once that's dry, I'm just taking some water and I'm just re-wetting this land here. Then I want to take some drops of water and I'm just going to drop them onto this bush. This will just help diffuse the paint. Transparent yellow. I'm just going to deepen it with some Indian yellow. A tiny bit of May green. I'm just going to take the same brush really and just pop this in along the edges. Then at the same time, I'm just going to bring some of this down here. Add some French ultramarine to that. It's a different colour. Yellow into it. Some of the transparent yellow, a bit more of the green. Always allowing some of the other colour to show. A little bit more blue. Hardly noticeable against the background, and that's exactly how I want it. Now we'll come round to this one. I want to re-wet this tree. We can put this one in now. Everything's nice and dry. So I think we decided that this one was going to be a dead tree. And I'm going to take some of the Indian red, drop this on here. A little stronger in the bottom. Now I think we'll take some of the Indian yellow. I'm just going to drop this in. Indian red, French ultramarine. Then I want to add some burnt sienna. A bit more French ultramarine. Just create a nice dark colour. I just want to turn this round. Pull some branches out. Take a little of this colour. I'm just going to speckle this in, just to add a little bit of dark shadow into this bush. Take a little water in here. Take some of the Indian yellow this time. Just helps to change it up. Some of the green. Bits of the darker stuff. Just a little bit of the Indian yellow. Little bit of the green. A little bit of dark shadow. Some of the Indian red. Just a little bit of the dark in here as well. Just gives it two different tones. Some shadow. Take some straightforward Indian red. Just drop this in here. Might even scrape some rocks into this, but it's going to have to dry a little for that. Once again, a little bit more. So I'm just going to let this run together for now. Put a few rocks on this side as well. Have something to hold this little waterfall in. Some of the darker colour. I'm going to leave this to dry for a little while and then we'll scrape some rocks in. This is drying out just a little bit uneven. Some parts are drying faster than others, so I'll just show you how I was going to do it. Let's just bring a credit card or a palette knife as I'm using, and you can just scrape out the edges of some of your rocks. Just while it was all drying, when it was dry enough, I just flicked in blades of grass and with a detail brush just put some branches into these bushes. This is the French ultramarine and burnt sienna, and I'm just watering this down just to make a sort of a blue grey, and I did put some blue grey in the back because it's in the sky here, a little bit of yellow, and drop some burnt sienna in it whilst it was still wet. And let's just see, we don't want too much on the brush because you can always go back and reload the brush. I want to pull some of this over this tiny waterfall here. Just create some movement so it looks like it's flowing. So you just lay your brush flat on the top and just pull it over. And then I'm going to just make sure we're wet enough, and we'll put the river in. I'm going to take some of this colour, which is that colour, but this is thicker because I'm going to put it, I'm using this grey as sort of it breaks the green up a little bit. transparent yellow. It's just adding the blues and the greens together. Slight touch of burnt sienna just to knock the glare down a bit. I'm going to check the spread on this. I'll take some of this. What I actually want to do is just bring this in. You won't see this because this trunk is on the bank. I'm just using this light green. Straightforward Indian red. I'm going to drop this in. Just a little stronger. I've dried the brush right out. I want some darker reflections in on this. Maybe there's a bit of reflection here. And I'm just crumpling that in. And a little bit of burnt sienna mixed into that. Take some of the burnt sienna and French ultramarine again. And I can come down into the rocks, put some blades of grass in here. And then I'm just going to leave that to dry. I'll just let that dry out, and what I've done is I've just taken a craft knife. I'm just removing a little paint just to add a little sparkle around these rocks just by scratching it. I'll put a surface line in there and putting one in here as well. And we can bring some grasses into the river. You could make all these different colours if you wish to, but for this I'm just trying to finish it off. Don't forget, if you enjoy these videos, please click the like button and subscribe. This helps with YouTube's algorithm and it helps the video to get seen. Feel free to share this video if you wish to. I think that's all I want to do with that. And this is where you get to sign it, put them out round and frame it. Like I said, I hope you've enjoyed this one. I will leave some suggestions right at the very end of this video for other videos I've made for YouTube. And I'll see you next time. Thank you.